a lot of people don't listen much. And by listening to the other side, not only do you learn a lot about them, about their needs or their interests, but also it shows respect.
Claude, hello, and thank you for joining Dukascopy TV again. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And a really interesting topic today, another chapter in your book about persuasion and why persuasion is so important in negotiation. Let's start by asking that question. Why is persuasion so important in negotiation?
Well, it's important because you want to influence the other side, making sure that your views are understood, and hopefully the other side will go along with you. Similarly, if you manage to persuade the other side about your thoughts or your projects, the other side may work with you maybe in creating additional value. So it's very useful to know how to influence the other side when negotiating.
Mm-hmm. So what are some key elements in negotiation negotiators can use to persuade people?
Okay, well, a number of issues which have relevance have identified. One of them is empathy. I think it's important that the other side realize that you're interested in them, that you want to work with them, want to dialogue with them. And then the other point is that to know more about them, you have to ask questions. Because you may have you have to know what do they really want. And asking questions is important. What is even more important is to listen to them. Because a lot of people don't listen much. And by listening to the other side, not only do you learn a lot about them, about their needs or their interests, but also it shows respect.
Yeah.
The third point is that I have the power of words. It's important that when you negotiate with somebody, maybe that person doesn't speak English as well as you do, or their mother tongue is not English. So you have to avoid using words that may have a double meaning, or use slang. Also, let's say you negotiate, the other side is a financial analyst. Well, there's no point to talk to him about sales, after sales service. So you have to adapt your communication to the other side. Then the other thing is, it's the consistency. You cannot switch back and forth. You have to be consistent in your line of thought. Because if you don't do that, the other side starts to having doubts about your credibility. So be consistent. The other thing is, it's to emotions. Mm-hmm. You have to control or manage your emotions. In some cultures, you can be more emotional than others, but negative emotions should be avoided. You can be emotionally display emotions in certain environments, but it's all my recommendation is to control it. The other thing is, it's the power of scarcity. People want things that are scarce. And during the negotiation, you have to show that the product is scarce or the time is scarce. If you put a deadline, it forces people to make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of us have tried to book a hotel room or seat on a plane, and it says only 2 rooms left. Or this offer is valid until midnight tonight.
Yeah.
So again, time is limited. So it's very important that deadlines should be negotiated, not imposed by you on the other side. The other side is counter-arguments. A lot of objections are known in advance. And so one should prepare counter-arguments. I would say 80% of all objections are known in advance. They are typical. So by having them by providing them, the other side with counter-arguments, it makes the negotiations move forward. The other point is criticism. It's tendency to criticize competition. And people expect that. Well, one should move away from being critical, either of companies or people. You don't build trust on being critical of other people, other companies. The other point I mentioned is social proof, very, very useful. Social proof means that you refer to maybe another company is doing business with you, a well-known company, or a well-known person uses your product, Or you could say that there's a magazine has published a report on your company, which is favorable. Use that. It's much better not to say how good you are, have somebody else says that you are good. It's much more powerful. And lastly, it's the trust. You have to build trust. If people don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. Similarly, if there's no trust, in some cultures, there's just no business. You have to be invited by a trusted person to introduce you to the other side. So basically, it's all common sense. But how many people really, a student once told me, I know all of that. I said, well, you're halfway there. The other half is to use it, implement it.
So with that being said, and people having to implement it, could you give us maybe an example of how you would integrate these ideas?
Well, I would rather, sort of an example, I would say that people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care about your needs, about their needs and their feelings.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Claude, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And thank you for watching. And if you like this interview and would like to see more interviews with Claude, head over to dukascopy.tv.